Hi, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Cassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the Ascension process. I have a variety of services that I offer to assist in your awakening journey, and you can find those listed in the description box below. Today, we're going to be talking about the full moon in Libra, and this is happening in the Northern Hemisphere on the 28th of March, 2021. And this is quite a full moon, you guys. Those of you who follow my daily readings, we've been talking about the energies building up to this, and so we're going to get deeper into those energies today, and then we're going to pull some cards, and we're going to see what guidance we have from our angels, from our guides, as far as how to navigate this energy and what we might be experiencing. So this full moon is, as every full moon is, a configuration where we have the sun opposing the moon in the sky. So we have the moon in Libra, and then we have the sun, which is currently in the sign of Aries. And this is extremely powerful energy because the sun is conjunct Venus and Chiron during this full moon. And Venus is the ruler of Libra. So that makes Venus's energy extremely important when we're looking at the energies of this full moon. This is quite a configuration with the sun, Venus, and Chiron all in the sign of Aries. And this conjunction is happening right around where the conjunction of Mars and Chiron happened during late 2020. So that was a big year as far as Mars's energy went. The whole second half of 2020, we had Mars transiting the sign of Aries. Mars went retrograde in Aries, extending his time in this sign, and met up with Chiron at least once, I believe multiple times if my memory serves. At least I believe more than once. And so this was a really intense energy. This was a major healing energy around our ability to step into ourselves, around our ability to assert ourselves with confidence in our lives. Anywhere where we had wounds around that, those were being brought to the surface so that we were able to more deeply step into our POWER. And so this is sort of a coming around, a return of this energy, if you will, a revisiting of some of this energy. And when we're looking at the sun, we're looking at Venus, and we're looking at Chiron together, we're really looking at our sense of self and our understanding of self and how it is that we love and appreciate ourselves, our self-esteem, our self-confidence, our self-love, right? How do we express that? How do we express ourselves? And especially, how do we express ourselves in partnership? And this partnership theme is very much highlighted by the fact that the moon is in the sign of Libra, which is all about balance and harmony and partnership. So this partnership aspect, our intimate relationships, very deeply highlighted during this moon. But it's not just our intimate relationships. It's the most intimate relationship of all, that relationship with ourself. How is that relationship? This is a big check-in point for that. How do we value ourselves? How do we show that value? What wounds exist within us, right, with this Chiron energy around our ability to love ourselves, around our ability to care for ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to celebrate ourselves? How is our level of confidence, and how do we exude that out into the world? What exists within us that is still blocking us from this? What exists within our hearts? What exists within our consciousness, right? Venus is very much that energy of love in the heart, and the sun is very much that energy of consciousness. And so we're really, any aspects that are lacking in this regard are being brought into our consciousness, into our bodies, right, in order to be healed. And so all of that is coming up, and we're really balancing that against this Libra energy. And so this is an energy of independence with the sign of Aries, right? Versus codependence, which is a lower vibration of Libra energy. Where do we fall in that spectrum? Where do we possibly glean our identity and our sense of self based on the responses of others? Where do we adjust our sense of self? Where do we adjust the way that we interact with others, the way that we show and reveal ourselves to others based on that need for acceptance, that need for harmony, that need for social acceptability, right? Where is that balance? Where is the balance of our needs versus the needs of others? Are we able to find that balance, or do we find ourselves tilting too far in either direction? These are major themes that have probably been highlighted all through this week and are really coming to a culmination during this full moon. So big energy, you guys. Huge shifts Huge releases, right? Full moons are all about releasing. And so what can we release that's outdated? What wounds are ready to be released? What habits and behaviors and patterns are ready to be released that are keeping us from being able to have truly intimate relationships, truly balanced and intimate relationships with others and with ourselves? Where are we still holding ourselves back from expressing the truth of who we are, from expressing the truth that's in our hearts, right? From expressing our creativity, from expressing our passions, right? And where can we build more confidence still? Where is that? If that is lacking somewhere, how is it that we can build that up? This energy is also majorly about stepping into our purpose and really taking ACTION around our plans and our dreams. We have, in addition to this major lineup that we have going on between all of the planets that we just talked about, also a grand air trine going on. And so all three of the air signs have a planet that is trining another during this configuration. And trines are beautiful energies. They are very harmonious energies. They can sometimes be a bit of a lazy energy because it's like things come so easily that when you see this in a natal chart, people don't have to work for whatever it is. The expression comes so easily and so naturally that they tend to, it's an energy that allows us to sit on our laurels a little bit. But with the other energies we having going on during this full moon, we're not able to do that. So this is just a supportive energy coming in. And so this is happening between Mars in Gemini, Saturn in Aquarius, and the moon in Libra, which makes it even more powerful because two of the major planets that we are experiencing during this full moon, right? Okay, so the moon at least is involved in this. Mars, I'm bringing Mars in just because of where Mars was last year in 2020 at the same place in this conjunct Chiron, right? So we're pulling and we're feeling that energy. Mars is also the ruler of Aries. So yeah, Mars is very heavily involved in this. So two planets heavily involved in this major energy that we have going on. And then Saturn as well, bringing in that structure, bringing in that form, right? Really calling us back to our responsibilities, to our karmic lessons, and paying attention to how those are unfolding and how we want to move forward from that point. This energy is very supportive. Air energy is all about ideas. It's all about communication. It's all about collaboration, right? And so we're being helped out a lot by this energy as far as being able to find solutions. Whatever issues have been coming up, whatever problems or obstacles we may be perceiving or faced with that are bringing about this healing, that are revealing these wounds to us that want to be healed, that are asking us to step into our POWER, into our confidence, into our knowing of who and what we are, and really allowing ourselves to exude that into the world. We're going to be able to find solutions. And the best way to find solutions with this grand air trine is to really communicate about what's going on. Share ideas, share perceptions with other people, get other people's perspectives on what you're going through. Allow other people to come through with helping hands. Really be open-minded, right, to different solutions that you may not have seen before. We also have Uranus during this full moon in a sextile to Pallas. So this is really helping us get that higher perspective, really connect the dots, see things, see patterns, and perhaps see strategies and different ways forward that we had not seen before. So this is a beautiful, beneficial energy. And we have Mars in this configuration also conjunct the North Node. And so this is our life's purpose. This is the energy we're moving into, that we're seeking to embody and master in this lifetime, right? This is the energy that leads us where our soul is wanting to go. And so we can really see when this lines up with Mars, really activating that life purpose. So there's going to be a lot of energy around that too. How is it that we can bring our dreams and our goals into fruition? What have we learned, right, with Saturn that's going to help us with this? What structures with Saturn can we create in order to do this? How do we move forward from this point? And how do we integrate that emotional, intuitive aspect with that moon energy, right? And this is helpful, I think, too, because air energy is not super emotional. So there are a lot of emotions that have been coming up, that have been releasing, that we are going to be feeling. But this air energy helps us to get a little bit of detachment. And so we're able to see things more. We're able to pull in some of that logical energy. We also, during this moon, however, have Mercury in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. And so this energy can sometimes be tricky because it can be very elusive. It can cause us to feel cloudy, like we're not able to see things clearly, traditionally speaking. But I'm really feeling it in this configuration, the way we're experiencing it right now, as more of an activation of our higher mind, of our higher soul consciousness. Right? Because Neptune represents all the mysticism, it represents collective energy. It represents our higher spirituality. It represents that unity, that oneness consciousness. And it's very much our higher spiritual path. And so I'm really feeling this as an activation of that, allowing us, if we can move through the confusion that can sometimes result when our mind isn't working from a purely logical standpoint, when our mind is wanting to move more into that intuitive feeling, sensing, knowing space, if we can tap into that energy and really harness that and utilize that, that can be a really great help to us right now and really aid us in coming up with these solutions and seeing and understanding the things that need to be seen and understood, the things that need to be released, the things that where is it that we need to let go? Where is it that we need to surrender? This is a big energy of learning the art of surrender and also understanding what type of surrender is called for. Is it the surrender where we just let go completely? Or is it the surrender where we actually step up and do the things that need to be done? Right? How are we being called to act? And remember, inaction is an action. And so what type of action are we being called to take? How are we being called to step up in our own lives? And how are we, and yeah, just that energy of just really tapping into that energy of knowing and understanding the art of sacrifice. What is sacrifice? What sacrifices are worth making? And how can we make those sacrifices without completely sacrificing ourselves and especially our sense and our understanding of self? So really intense energies. There's a lot that we're learning. There's a lot of ways that we're growing. And I'm actually wanting to pull some tarot. Clear. So we're going to start with some tarot. Tarot for this full moon in Libra. Okay, first two cards out. We have the Ten of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So this is a lot of that emotional energy. This is major emotional fulfillment here, right? Because the Ten of Cups speaks to emotional fulfillment. And with the Queen of Cups here, it's almost like she's here offering an extra cup. So we end up with 11 cups, which is really interesting. Yeah. So I like that energy, and I like how the Ten of Cups is Mars and Pisces energy. So we got the Pisces and the Mars energy here. But there's that nice balance, right? Because it's that intuitive with the action, right? So we have a feminine energy with the Pisces energy, with the masculine energy of Mars. So I like that as far as the astrology on these cards goes. But yeah, this is incredible emotional fulfillment. So how do we find this emotional fulfillment? What is bringing this about? Okay. And so we have the Five of Cups. We have the King of Swords. And we have the Ace of Coins. And so this is the energy, right? The Five of Cups is the crying over spilled milk. The Five of Cups is that energy of really being in a space of lack and scarcity and disappointment and just allowing ourselves to be pulled into that energy. And so the King of Swords, right? He is extremely logical. This is air sign energy. And so this is calling us to tap into that air grand trine. This is calling us to tap into our logical mind, to really look at and examine our situations. Where is it where we are focusing on these cups, what we have perceived to be broken, instead of what is actually whole and complete, right? And so this is maybe the aspects of ourselves that we're having to let go of. These are our wounds, right? And these are the virtues that we're gaining. So we want to look at the lessons and the blessings. What have I learned from this situation? Any painful situation that we are going through or experiencing, right? And that's interesting. This is another Mars card. This is Mars and Scorpio energy. What is the lesson? What is the blessing? What have we learned from it? What have we gained from it? This is how we close out a cycle. When we pay attention to and we understand the lesson. And this has been coming up a lot, and so I'm going to reiterate this again. I don't know if I actually said this on a video. I said this, I was talking to a client the other day, and we talked about this, and I was telling them because this is my personal experience of what's happened for me recently too, where it was like I had a situation that kept repeating itself. It was a cycle. And I thought I knew exactly what I had learned from it. And I'm like, okay, I learned this lesson. Why does this keep coming up? Why does this keep coming up? And the funny part was the actual lesson that I needed to learn was right here in front of my face. But I was looking everywhere else, pointing at all these other lessons because I didn't want to really think about this one. And then finally, it was brought to my attention, like, it's right here. This is the lesson. It's been right in front of your face the whole time. And it was like the final step of learning that lesson was the acceptance of it. It's like it keeps repeating itself. I acknowledged it, but I wasn't able to accept it. And once I was able to accept it, I'm hoping now that that lesson has closed out and I'm able to move on from that. But yeah, so that, for some reason, that may be relevant or helpful for someone, which is the reason it's coming up. But yeah, it was funny to really understand and just see from that different perspective of if we think we know the lesson, but it keeps coming up, then maybe there's something more that we're meant to learn. And so we want to use that air energy to be open-minded to, all right, what else is this trying to teach me, right? And to really then have acceptance around what we're learning instead of resisting it and being like, no, that's not fair. No, like, I don't want that. I don't accept that is a reality. I don't accept that I need to accept this, basically, right? Like, we have to move beyond that into that level of surrender and acceptance of what it is that we're learning or being shown, the truth that's being revealed to us. And so really, utilizing that, really taking that time to look at situations and pull ourselves out of the emotion of it, right? Pull ourselves out of the emotion of it and more into the understanding of it. And then the King of Swords is also an energy that is a very blunt communicator. He really communicates straight and to the point. And so there may be situations where we need to communicate, where we need to, and I would always recommend doing this with a bit of finesse, pulling that Queen of Cups energy in her highest vibration, which is being emotionally sensitive to the needs of others, right? We want to, with this moon in Libra, we want to make sure that we are being sensitive to and taking into account the needs and the emotions and the feelings of others, but also communicating what it is that needs to be communicated. Yeah. And just really, really taking stock of a situation from that more detached point of view. That's what it's about. Detaching ourselves from the intense, right? Mars and Scorpio, this is intense emotionality. Detaching ourselves from that intense emotionality in order to get a clearer view of a situation. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. And so that's when we have this new stability that comes in for us, right? Emotional stability, mental stability, which then, of course, translates into physical stability, right? Because our physical reality mirrors our emotional and our mental state. It mirrors our energy, and our energy is heavily affected by our emotions and our mentality, our thoughts, all of that, right? And, of course, the words that we speak. And then we have the Tree of Life coming out. And so this is it's the Kabbalah, right? And I don't know a ton about it, but I do know that when I see this card, what I read into this is like a major spiritual gateway or a spiritual path, like a huge point, a huge moving up point in our spiritual journey, essentially, is like this is like a highly esoteric energy, and this is like a major lesson that's been learned. I feel like major karmic lessons for people too, and it's like finally being able to close that door completely to really release those energies. Tell me some more. We have the Three of Pentacles. That's that collaboration energy that we were feeling and talking about, right? Coming together, finding solutions, putting in the work that's necessary, but also taking into account all the resources and all the help that may be at our aid, right? And then we have the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups. And so a lot of Cups energy here, right? And so this is beautiful emotional energy. This is beautiful emotional energy, possibly emotional messages for some people that may be coming through. Messages of love, very likely. And this is our heart energy as well. Tell me about the Knight and the Page of Cups. Got the Palace of Cups. All right. Okay. And then we have the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, so 2 nines. and the 8 of Pentacles. All right. So 2 9s and an 8. And a lot of this Cups energy. So a ton of emotional energy going on here. Even though we are in the sign of Libra, we do have this grand air trine. There's a lot of emotion and there's a lot of emotional healing that's taking place. I feel for some people, it's like with this Knight of Cups and everything, it's not even like, it's not about somebody else rescuing us. That's a thing that I think some of us are learning right now, right? The knight, we think of the knight, especially the Knight of Cups, right? Riding in on that horse, and in this card, it's actually a seahorse, which is super cool, right? But riding in on his horse to rescue us. And that's what knights do, right? But we're learning there is nobody that needs to rescue us. We can rescue ourselves. We can heal ourselves. It's really stepping into this. This is a supportive emotional environment. So it's us learning how to create that supportive emotional environment within ourselves, right? This is when we deal with those themes of dependency and codependency versus interdependency, right? The interdependency is the working together. It's being whole and complete on our own, and then adding that wholeness and completeness to partnerships in order to amplify the energies, right? But we have to be, if we are seeking for something outside of ourselves, we must find it within ourselves first. And so that energy coming through really strongly, right, is us being clear and confident on our own as well, and knowing how to exist within that energy. And I feel like for some people, it's like that energy is going to, especially if you are looking for love, right? I'm seeing how she's holding this dove. And then there's another dove flying above her head, right? So this is her own self-love. This is her own self-worth and self-confidence and self-acceptance. This is her wholeness. And that pulls in this other energy, right? Which ironically only comes in when we know that we don't need it anymore. And so, yeah, I'm definitely feeling that, like, people are going to be, like, that's a possibility for people, right? If you are searching for love, but it's when you stop searching, when you find it within yourself, that's when it really is able to come through. Yeah, and I see this as us just really working really hard at our goals, right? With this 8 of Pentacles energy, this 9 and 8 of Pentacles energy. And then we have the Emperor. Yeah, stepping up into our inner authority, right? Really taking charge of our own lives and our own path. And really, this is all the work that we've done. This is the evolution from this slightly closed off energy, right? This slightly wounded, closed off, kind of tired energy, into this energy of self-love and self-acceptance, and really building ourselves up on our own, right? And then continuing to work, continuing to grow, continuing to progress as an independent entity, right? And then moving into this energy. That's the ultimate goal, right? And that is the energy that represents Aries. And then we have the Ace of Swords. This is that clarity. This is that breakthrough. This is that insight. Right? This is that new cycle in the mind space. And then we have the 5 of Swords. And in this 5 of Swords, he looks extremely victorious. This is us. This is us having victory. This is the victory over whatever was plaguing us in our mind space. Right? Learning, this is the energy of learning how to come out of this. How to see and be grateful for our blessings. How to count our blessings instead of counting and focusing on where it is that we are feeling a sense of lack. Yeah, so that's beautiful, triumphant energy. Yep, and then the moving on to calmer waters. Right? Perfect, I love it. Anything else coming out here for this part of the spread? The 4 of Cups. But notice in this 4 of Cups, it's like he's actually, I feel like actually in this drawing, he's looking toward the cup, but he's not quite seeing it clearly. And so I feel like that's something as well for people. It's like the thing that you didn't see clearly. the thing that your perspective was just slightly off kilter, so you couldn't quite see, right? It's like that example I was giving you guys where I was looking here, here, here instead of here, right? And so it's like he's wanting and desiring something, not realizing that it's right in front of him the whole time. Let's get some more energy on this. We have the Palace of Wands. The Three of Swords. And the Ace of Wands coming out. All right, so there's another ace. You got 3 aces in this reading, you guys. And so, yeah, this is all about spiritual strength here. With this, all this Wands energy here and this Three of Swords. This is the pain. This is the pain that we had to learn to face, right? These are the wounds. These are the things that are being brought to our attention. This is the wounding and the conditioning and the past experiences that were slightly distorting our perception so that we weren't able to quite see what was right in front of us. And so this is that spiritual journey that liberates us from that energy. When we're able to really move deeply into that. But do it. This is us. I'm also feeling, right, with this Palace of Wands, this is the environment. This is a spiritually activating environment. And so I'm feeling as though this is really also us understanding the things that made us but didn't break us. And the trials and the tribulations that we're going through and how those are actually building us up. How those are actually what creates this energy. Right? And so really seeing and understanding that. And being able to learn. This is us learning those virtues from that. This is us actually confronting whatever it is that we've been wanting and we have been suppressing. Whatever it is that was unhealed within us. And allowing that healing. And I feel like there's this energy, there's just this fire almost that's lit within us that really pushes us to look at these things and to examine these things, but to see them from that higher spiritual perspective, which is what allows us to grow, which is what allows us to become triumphant, right? Give me any more on this. Yep. Yeah. And then we have Judgment, the Tower, and the World. So these are 3 very powerful major arcana coming out here. All right. This is the call to action. This is the epiphany, the real, especially paired with this card. This is the epiphany. This is the realization. This is the understanding. This is the energy of that. This is the energy of a spiritual awakening right here. Right? We have other cards that represent that in the deck, but with these 2 cards together, this is like a profound, earth-shattering spiritual awakening. This is the kind that cannot be ignored because it just slaps you in the face. Like, to be quite frank, like that's what this energy. It's like something in your reality, whether this is external events, and this is more Mars energy again. This is Mars and Pluto energy combined here. All right. So we know how intense that is. And then this is Saturn energy with the world. All right. So, yeah. External events for many people that really shake them awake. For some people, this is just an internal realization, possibly triggered by external events, right? But it's something that really awakens you, really sheds light. And it's like, once you are awake and you are aware of what it is that you're being shown, and for some people, I feel like this also has to do with your life path and your purpose. And the way that you step into that, the way that is some part of that journey is illuminated for you. But for a lot of people, this is those major karmic cycles we were talking about that are closing, right? And that's what brings about this close. But this card, it's not just about the ending of a cycle. This is also about, look, we have all 4 elements here. This is about the harvest. This is about reaping what we sow. This is about the benefits of that cycle. we then receive, right? Like we said, all the virtues, all the lessons, all the wisdom, all the POWER that is gained. It's like realizing where we gave away our POWER and then reclaiming that, calling that back to us. So that is big, big, potent energy, you guys. This is like major breakthroughs, major realizations, major turning of the scales, right? Turning of the wheel. Just huge, huge energy. All right, what do I want to close with here? I'm wanting to close with a Beyond Lemuria card. Clear. Closing guidance for the full moon in Libra. And we have Realm Bridger and Shine Your Light coming out. Doing like that. All right, so this Shine Your Light is all about being in your authenticity. It's about stepping forward as who you truly are. It's about not being afraid to shine your truth and your light into the world, not dimming that to make others comfortable, not pretending to be something you're not in order to be socially accepted, right? We've been talking about that energy a lot. It's about us just owning, and this is card number 44, owning who we are and stepping through, right? Stepping through in the infinite. I love that. With Mount Shasta, which is all about downloads and higher understanding. All right. This is stepping through, stepping into that next phase of our lives, stepping through the illusions, right? Stepping beyond whatever it was that was holding us back. This is like a huge energy of liberation. And I want to read the Realm Bridger card and see what this has to say. But this is us bridging the realms, right? When we're talking about the 3D into the 5D, when we're talking about communication between the realms, we're talking about, I think, aspects of ourselves and our own soul light in other realms. Also, bridging timelines. There's a lot that's coming through for this card, and so this says, visionaries, architects of the future, information from other realms, bridging the seen with the unseen, inspiration, seeding a new earth, traversing different states of consciousness, birthing ideas from subtle reality, and journeying. Have you ever felt there is more than meets the eye in the perception we call reality? That there is more going on behind the scenes? Do you ever glimpse beyond your physical senses and wonder if what they perceive is just the tip of the iceberg? Do you ever get visions or insights just as you are falling off to sleep? Do you dream in colors that are more vibrant than you have experienced in waking life? As you raise your vibration and explore different states of consciousness, you may experience phenomena you might have believed only happens in fantasy stories. Through meditation and journeying, we invite a greater awareness of the subtle realities. These realms can be amazing places to bring through pioneering ideas, creativity, and to explore the edges of the universe. This card is about bridging the seen and the unseen. Intuitive painting is my method of connection, but the ability to crystallize the normally intangible can manifest in other ways. Anchoring the collective dreaming for a new future is not as out of reach as we may think. Just as the water changes from solid to gas to liquid, we can change the intangible in other forms. Metaphors, codes, or even maths can form the path of the visionary. So this is all about us bringing that unseen into the seen, making the immaterial material and manifest. One of these visions in the minds and hearts of many. Once these visions are in the minds and the hearts of many, it can merge into matter, right? When enough of the collective reality agrees, something becomes reality. These blueprints can then go to the architects, and the ideas can become physicalized. It is time to dream outside the box. It is time for the inventors, the artists, the poets, and the visionary leaders to step forward and collectively dream a new future. And remember, this is that collective, this collaborative energy that we were talking about as well, right? You are the pioneer of your life. The way forward may be in your dreams or visions. You might find it useful to do automatic writing or intuitive drawing to capture some of the more lucid information. Be creative and don't take on the opinions of others. It's time to think and do things a whole other way. After all, the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? And so now we're getting ready to do something different. And throughout this whole process, right, as you are stepping into your role as a visionary leader, as you are doing your part to envision and bring into manifestation and fruition this new earth by embodying all of the qualities that you seek to see in it, right? by doing the things that you want to see done. That's how we do it. That's how we align with that energy, how we step into that timeline, into that vibration. And we do it by shining our light, by being the holy and authentic version of ourselves, right? The holy, authentic version of ourselves. Yeah. By allowing by embracing our uniqueness and our individuality. What makes you you? Step into that, own that, and move forward as that in the world, right? And then what do I want to do? I'm going to pull a couple Black Moon astrology cards too. Clear. We have time. All right. Let's get a couple Black Moon astrology cards here. We have the 4th house roots coming through. So this is home. This is family, right? This is our upbringing. This is also, that card often reminds me of the beliefs and the patterns that were instilled in us from childhood. And this is also cycles that we're clearing for our ancestors, for our lineage. A lot of energy with that right now. And then we have the 11th house, friends. So that is the house that's ruled by Aquarius. This is networking. This is collaboration. This is working together. This is all those energies that we were talking about. And this is working together also when it comes to matters of the home, matters of the family, matters of the deepest intimacy, right? This is also the energy of the bedrock of who we are, the foundation of our soul. So the energy of that evolution as well. And then, yeah, the Capricorn I use card. So this is coming up with those constructive solutions, right? Those constructive plans. This is dreaming that collective dream and collectively uniting to bring that into manifestation. That's that energy that we were talking about right there. And then, of course, on the bottom of the deck, we have 8th house, endings and beginnings, right? So this is the releasing. This is the letting go. This is the doors that close so the other doors can open. And then we have the 7th house, partners. Yeah. So that energy, that partnership energy, how we're learning about ourselves. We're learning a lot about ourselves through our friendships, through our intimate relationships, through our family relationships, through we have all the different types of relationships on the table here right now. We have family and home with the 4th house. We have friends and networking and contacts, groups, associations with the 11th house, and we have partners with the 7th house. So all aspects of relationship. And how can I use what I'm learning about myself through these relationships to guide me in the future, right? Because we're learning a lot about ourselves. A lot is being mirrored back to us and understood through our interactions with others right now. However, what we're also learning is how to not define ourselves by the other, and not to allow what others think of us to influence what we think of and believe about ourselves, right? So it's like finding our autonomy, but at the same time, really immersing ourselves in our relationships and learning and growing with them, but learning how to have relationships in any way that they're manifesting in our lives, while at the same time maintaining that sense of who we are. And then the North Node, life's purpose, right? Moving towards that purpose. How is it that I can best fulfill my purpose? How can I step more deeply into that? How can I embody that? And then we have water element, sensing, lunar eclipse, change, and Virgo, I analyze. So this is shifts and changes in our emotional and our mental space right now, just like we were talking about, right? We got the mental space with Virgo. We got the emotional space with the water. And then we have the change card. So changes in both of those aspects of the self, which then bring about stability. All right, you guys, I think that we are going to, and how to navigate these changes by calling on both our intuitive sensing abilities and our ability to analyze and think logically. How can we merge those? How can we bridge those together so that they work in harmony to help us move forward? I think we're going to call it for today for this reading. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you so very, 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 very much. This is big, powerful, intense energy, you guys. I've been feeling it. I know other people in my reality have really been feeling it. If you guys want any assistance navigating this, please reach out to me. I do really beautiful energy healings. I do personal readings. I do a lot of different things that can help assist you in this process of your transformation and evolution. So please reach out to me. My email's in the description box below. Drop a comment. Let me know how this is resonating, how you're feeling these energies as we build up to this full moon. And of course, if you liked this video, hit that like button because it definitely helps. Love you, appreciate you. Happy full moon when it does occur. I will talk to you guys soon.